Great!
Wow!
Amazing!
All right. That looks like fun.
Wow! What's that? Buy a new car at the garage.
Gas and souvenirs can be bought at the gas station.
See how math is used in the real world.
Learn some local knowledge at the museum.
The police are friendly, but make sure you drive carefully.
Find out how electricity is produced.
Brush up on your cooking skills at the restaurant.
The warehouse is where it's at for logic and fast math fun.
There are fun facts and interesting landmarks to find out about in cities all over the Americas. Internet links increase the fun, and there's a dedicated website.
Fasten your seatbelts and get your brains in gear. It's time to drive across the Americas.
How can I help? Oh, yeah, click on something and I'll tell you about it. Click on help again and I'll let you get on with the game. We want you to help check the sums for the farmer. This part of the screen is where the questions appear. Basically, it's a sheet that shows you all the expenses and sales. Some of the numbers are filled in, and you have to work out the numbers that go in the box with the arrow. That's me. I can help you with the questions when you play the game. Just click on the help button if you're stuck on a question. That's me. I can help you with the questions when you play the game. Just click on. We want you to help check the sums for the farmer. Type the answer in the space and press enter. Welcome to my restaurant. I do not know why, but I am going to let you help out. I just hope no food critics come here while you are here. What you need to do is select the correct ingredients for different recipes. Your assistants will combine them, and I will judge the results. Now, click on something, and I will tell you about it. Click on Help, and then the Play Game button, and we can get started. That is the preparation table. Ingredients appear there. You click on the ingredients you want to add, and their names appear on the recipe list. Click on them again, and their names will be taken off. Once you are happy, just click on the Cook button. That is me. I own the restaurant. I employ many cooks who all work very hard. I also fire people who make bad food, but you do not need to know about that. At the end of the game, I will give you a score based on the number of ingredients you get right. I take points off for incorrect ingredients, and if all the basic ingredients are correct, I will award extra points for flavorings. Do not worry, I won't actually take any of your points away, even if your score is below 0. Oh, also, you should know that in this restaurant, we follow my recipes. It tastes weird. What did you put in here? If you are interested, this is how I would make it. You are just too good.
Magnifique.
Just
It's
like
as
nearly
me.
as good as mine. It tastes weird. What did you put in here? If you are interested, this is how I would make it. It tastes weird. What did you put in here? If you are interested, this is how I would make it. You are just too good.
Magnifique.
Just
It's
like
as nearly
me. As good as mine. That is absolutely disgusting. If you are interested, this is how I would make it.
Welcome to the power station. I am here to give you a guided tour. Click on the part of the station that you want to learn about, and I will tell you how it works. The center of the Earth is very hot. In some places, there are underground lakes that get hot from the heat of the Earth. Geothermal power stations use wells that are drilled into the ground to extract the water. When the hot water gets to the surface, it turns into steam. The turbines change the flow of water or steam provided by the power source into a rotary or turning movement. They do this because they have specially designed blades that the fluid rushes into. Turbines are directly connected to the generator by a shaft. When a metal wire is moved in a magnetic field, it generates an electric current in the wire. This is how generators change the movement energy of the turbines into electrical energy. Before the electricity is taken into our homes through the power lines, it is changed so that it has a very high voltage. This is because electricity with a high voltage and a low current does not lose very much energy when it is passed through a cable. In a power station, the transformer is the device that changes the electricity. Sorry, there's nothing there, except maybe for a few chipmunks. Welcome to the power station. I am here to give you a guided tour. Click on the part of the station that you want to learn about, and I will tell you how it works. The center of the Earth is kept very hot because of the enormous pressure and the decay of radioactive minerals. When tension in the Earth's crust allows the pressure to drop, the hot rocks will melt and travel up towards the surface where they can appear as lava flows from volcanoes. Hot volcanic rocks heat up groundwater in natural reservoirs to temperatures between 150 and 370 degrees Celsius. This temperature is normally enough to turn the water into steam. But it cannot do this because the pressure in the reservoirs is too high to allow steam to form. I'll tell you more about steam in a minute. Geothermal power stations can make use of this free hot water. Wells are drilled into the ground to extract the water, which comes up to the surface because it is under pressure. When the hot pressurized water gets to the surface, the pressure is released, and it turns into steam, which is used to power the turbines. The turbines change the flow of water or steam provided by the power source into a rotary or turning movement. They do this because they have specially designed blades that the fluid rushes into. Turbines are directly connected to the generator by a shaft. The English scientist Michael Faraday, who lived from 1791 to 1867, discovered that an electric current will flow through a wire if it is moved in a magnetic field. This is the principle behind all electric generators. A coil of wire produces more power than a single wire, and if the coil is rotated within the magnetic field, then the direction of movement, and therefore the direction of current, will change every half rotation. This produces alternating current, or AC. It alternates between a positive and negative flow. A battery produces DC, or direct current, which always flows in the same direction. The mains supply in our homes is AC. Electricity is energy that takes the form of charged particles, called electrons, flowing through an electrical conductor. The force needed to push a certain amount of electrical charge through a substance is called the electromotive force. This is measured in volts. The strength of the moving charge, called the current, is measured in amperes. When electricity flows down a cable, it can make the cable hot. This means that a lot of energy is being lost. The heat is generated by the current, not by the voltage. To reduce the loss of energy in power lines, the electricity is changed so that it has an extremely high voltage and a low current. The device used to change the electrical energy is the transformer. If you wrap wire around an iron bar and pass an electrical current through the wire, you will cause the iron bar to become a temporary magnet. If the iron bar is a C shape and there is another one next to it forming a loop, then the magnetic field will be transferred to the second iron bar. Passing alternating current through the first wire coil will make the magnetic field change direction in time with the alternation of the current. The changing magnetic field in the second part of the iron core will induce an electrical current to flow through a coil of wire wrapped around it. This uses the same principle as the generator, only instead of moving the wire to produce a current, you are moving the magnetic field. If you wrap the wire around the core fewer times in the first coil than in the second, then the voltage will be higher in the second coil. This is called a step-up transformer. Before the electricity gets used in our homes, we use a step-down transformer to lower the voltage.
Hello there. Welcome to my garage. You can get your car repaired here, or you can buy a new one. It's your choice. Okay, let's look at the damage, shall we? This car is absolutely fine. I don't need to do anything to it. Well, you're thinking of buying a new car. That's wonderful. Absolutely great. There has never been a better time to buy, let me tell you that. Click on the arrows to look through the cars, and click on the color buttons to change the color. Then click on the buy button if you see something you like. Remember, the price you see is the cost before you trade in your current car, but you must have the correct number of souvenirs. You see something you like? Okay, let's see what we can work out for you. We can do a trade-in on your old car, so you'll pay this much, and you'll need these souvenirs. Sorry, buddy. This one is a little out of your price range. Come back when you can afford it, or make another selection. You see something you like? Okay. Hello. There are 2 games here. I'll tell you about them if you click on them. Click the help button and I'll just go away and mind my own business. This is the packing game. You'll see a 3D box that you can rotate using the buttons. That ain't the game. You'll also see some expanded boxes underneath. They're not the game either. One of these expanded boxes, we call them cube knits, would make the 3D box if you folded it up. You have to look at the box and click the mouse on the net you think made it. That's the game. It's kind of a mental dexterity kind of a thing. Apparently playing these sorts of games makes you clever. Anyhow, if you use the help button, the number of nets is reduced, but so are the points for that question. This is the quick fire math game. It's kind of a quick fire math game sort of a thing. There are some math questions that appear and you have to answer them in the time limit. The quicker you are, the more points you get.